Let me introduce to you Aubrey's friend and colleague and coach and all that, right? Yeah. Born in North Carolina, lived in Pennsylvania, New York, and now in Florida. Academically speaking, she has a bachelor's and master's degree and a PhD in management with special emphasis on human resource and organizational development. She spent some 10 years in St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, teaching high school and college students. From these vast experiences, the Caribbean and her people hold a special place in her heart. Working to empower women and girls has been her focus for quite some time. And from her own life's journeys came her first book, A Woman's Guide to Soulful Living, which talks about the 7 keys to success in work and life. She is an associate editor with the Caribbean Voice, a South Florida newspaper. She writes an advice column for She Caribbean, a St. Lucian magazine that is sold in 16 islands, also in Canada and London. She's a television host on Caribbean Weekly, which is produced by the Florida and Jamaican-based Duke of Earl Group. And she's also a broadcaster on Carib Voice Radio. He's smiling, he likes that. Her philosophy and her call to service beckons her to help others, particularly women and girls, in releasing themselves from the emotional, mental, spiritual, and psychological shackles that bind. Her personal mission is to uplift others so that they can live a life filled with personal fulfillment and inner peace, a life wrought with joy and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Dr. Anita Davis Defoe.
Good afternoon. It is sincerely my pleasure to be here to spend this moment in time with you, because I feel that divinely things that happen in our lives, circumstances that occur, that divinely they come to teach us, often to heal us, to mold us, to shape us. How many of you came here today because you know that you need to make some changes in your life? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you are looking for a new direction in your life? What I'm going to do for the next 45 minutes or so is take you on a journey. And I want you to consider what you would do, what you would achieve if fear did not grip you. If you didn't play and you didn't hold on to past mistakes or challenges. And I want you to stand up for a minute. And I hope you don't mind that I don't do the podium. I like to be in the audience, because this is a journey we are all taking together. The women that came before me, each of them shared with us their own struggle to wholeness, their own struggle to find their unique self. And whether it may be a journey with health, maybe it might be career, maybe it might be a relationship, everybody in this room, including the few men that are scattered in here as well, each and every day, we spend some time trying to get to our truest self. Now, I'm going to ask you questions. And if you find that you can answer yes to the question, I want you to raise your hand. And if at least 2 of the questions I ask you, you can answer yes to, I want you to raise your other hand, and I want you to keep your hands raised, okay? How many of you have a dream that you have kind of put on the back burner? And I want you to hold it up. As short as I am, I want to be able to see your hand. How many of you, hold them up high. How many of you have let a past mistake or a poor choice keep you stuck? in a play. I want you to hold your hand up. If I've already said it, you bounced yes to 2, I want you to raise your hands and raise them high. How many of you, particularly as women, you have allowed yourself to be in a relationship that did not honor you as the queen that you are? How many of you, keep them up high? I see some of you already have 2 hands up. How many of you, sometimes if you make a mistake or an error, you call yourself stupid? You say, oh God, I was so stupid. How many of you sometimes, when you look in the mirror, you don't like the face that you see there? Hold them up. How many? Hold them up. I want you to hold them up high. How many of you, whether it was a family member, someone at school, someone said something to you, and you chose to claim that as your reality? Maybe they said you were ugly. Maybe they said you were too dark. Maybe they said you were too big. Maybe they said that you weren't good enough. You weren't smart enough. They said something. Maybe they said, you know, you're stupid. Maybe you had a teacher in the 3rd grade or in college who said that. Or maybe a family member. It can be your own mother, father, sister, brother, whomever. I want you to raise it up. Most of you have both hands up now. And then those of you, there's a few people that might be in denial. And they so they need to raise their hands up too. But I want you to put your hands up. Now I want you to think about this for a minute. Now wonder if you spent your entire time on the planet like this. Think about it. How did you feel? It already hurt. Yes. But think about some people who spend a lifetime like this. And we may know somebody, we might have been in that predicament ourselves, where we're going through life like this. And there's countless women. I don't care whether it's in the Virgin Islands, whether it's in South Florida, whether it's Barbados, wherever I go, as women, as humans, we struggle coming to ourselves. But you and I know, everybody in this room knows at least one person, and it could be us in this room, that this is how we're going through life. A victim. No choice, and I see some of you going. So now, what do you think if this is a lifetime? But it hurts, doesn't it? But when we don't acknowledge our dreams, when we don't acknowledge who we are, when we don't respect ourselves, when we don't like ourselves, and it doesn't matter whether it's if you want a new career, if you want to go back to school, if you want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, as Kelly talked about, you can't say that you're going to wait for your life to begin when these other things happen. Because your life is already commenced. Come on, I want you to feel it. Don't get in there for me. Because it's better for this moment in time for you to feel this and think about it in this room and let it go and not spend a lifetime. And I want you, when in those moments when you find yourself being filled with doubt or fear, or you feel like you can't make it, I want you to think about the crazy lady from Florida with the dreadlocks who had me standing in a room on a Sunday afternoon with my hands up in the air, hurting. Because do you feel my point? Yes.